Good evening and welcome to Grindstone's presentation for our responsible reopening hybrid model. I am Terry Grimm, building principal.
I am Lori Nagy, the assistant principal.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We would just like to spend a little bit of time going through all the information to help our families understand what the hybrid plan is back here at Grindstone when your children start back to school next week. Also know that in your email, there was a link to the presentation, to these slides. So if you wanted to go back and revisit some of the information, then you will have that ability to do so. So I'd like first to start off with our district goal. It has been and will be, continue to be, to provide the best possible education during this COVID-19 global pandemic to all students in pre-K through 12 without sacrificing the health and safety of our staff and our students. What does the hybrid model provide? Well, the hybrid model does provide a reduced student attendance by at least 50% so that we can follow those established safety guidelines. We will have safe face-to-face interactions, socialization of peers, consistency of the continuity of the learning, and allows for 6 feet of distance between individuals, as well as the ongoing for assessment and intervention as needed. The hybrid schedule, I think some of you are very familiar with this schedule. It has been posted on numerous areas around the district and on our website and in our newsletter publication. But the hybrid schedule is broken into 2 groups, a blue group and an orange group. So if you are blue, if your last name begins with the letter A through L, you would go to school on blue days, which would be Monday and Wednesday, or orange if they're M through Z, which is Tuesday and Thursday, and then all students would attend class asynchronously on Friday. So what does each model of learning look like? So synchronous learning, that in-person, that real-time learning will happen on those days that your child isn't in school. They will be engaged in the classroom, participating in activities, getting feedback, and working face-to-face, obviously, with their teacher and numerous activities. Dynamic learning experience will be provided, as well as that instructional support is there during those synchronous learning days. During asynchronous learning, those days that your child is not in school, learning that happens is on your schedule. It's self-paced learning. There is work to do, but that is up to you as a family to make those decisions to work towards making sure that you have a schedule. It does allow for a flexible experience in the learning, and instructional support will still be there. So here in the elementary, what does that look like as far as your days? So A through L, in-person learning happens on Monday and Wednesday, and then you are home on Tuesday and Thursday. So that is for our blue group. If you are in the orange group, M through Z, in-person is Tuesday and Thursday, and home is on Monday and Wednesday. Friday stays the same as it has been for the last 3.5 weeks, and we will continue to have our Titan team time. So our Titan team time is at 9 o'clock. It goes from 9 to 9:30 on Fridays, and your Titan team leaders will continue to lead your children in those meetings. In person is synchronous instruction. Home is what we call asynchronous instruction. Our specials, our ENCORE classes, which we will talk about later in this presentation, are on a 2-week rotation. Please know that all students who have signed up for TVLA have been pulled out of current classes here at Grindstone and put into their own TVLA classes.
Preschool. Arrival and dismissal for our preschool friends. They will drop off and pick up in the front of the building. Parents will line up in single file car lines. They will remain in their cars and not get out. Staff will be out there to help assist getting the students into and out of their cars. Our preschool times, our AM classes are 8:30 to 11:30, and drop off and pickup is in the front of the building for those. Our PM classes are from 12:30 to 3:30, and our drop off is in the front of the building, but our pickup is just a little bit different at 3:30. You pick up on the west side over by our cafeteria doors for our afternoon preschool pickups. Our arrival to school, anybody who's arriving to school in a car, you will be dropped off in the front of the building. You can begin to arrive for drop off at 8:55, but students must remain in their cars until a staff member directs them to exit. This is to allow for us to socially distance the kids and not have too many entering the building at one time. Students will enter the building immediately after exiting their car. They will be staggered as they enter the building, and they're going to head right to their classrooms. Now, each grade level is going to be entering a different door, and I'm going to show you a map of that in just a second. But our kindergarten friends will be entering through the front doors, so they'll get out of the cars and come straight through the front doors. Our first grade friends are going to walk around to the side over by the cafeteria, and they're going to enter the custodial doors. For any of our first grade friends that did MAP testing, it's the same door that they entered for MAP testing. Second grade is going to enter on the far east doors, and our third and fourth graders will enter our cafeteria doors. If you're dropping a student off after 9:15, you must bring them to the front of the building. You will park and walk them to the front door. Here is a map you can see of where our students will enter. So if you are a car rider and you get dropped off in the front of the building, that does not mean you are entering the door in the front of the building. There will be lots and lots of staff members to help guide you. And we're also going to put out some videos later this week showing you exactly where you need to go to enter the building. Dismissal for our car rider friends. You should have completed the form that went home yesterday. We have, last I looked, about 320 families that have completed it. So we're still waiting for a few more to tell us how students are getting home. And this is really important for our car riders particularly. So cars should not arrive any earlier than 3:30 for dismissal, and parents must remain in their cars. There's actually going to be staggered pickup times, and communication for which group you're in is going to come when you receive your number assignment, which is going to make sense here in a second. So our first group of pickup will be 3:35 to 3:45. Our second group will be 3:45 to 3:55. And our third group will be 3:55 to 4:05. So each child or family, if you have more than one child, is going to have a number for their car. And that's the number for your car all year long. You're going to get 2 cards with that number on it per family. Families are going to receive their car number prior to October 5th. And you're asked that on the first day that you just write it on a piece of paper for us. And then your student's going to come home with your 2 laminated cards either on October 5th or October 6th. Whichever day they come. You will receive an email that has your number, your car number assignment, as well as which group you can pick up your student in. Students are going to have a matching number that we're going to attach to their backpack on their first day that they're here. So if I'm family number 1, I'm going to have a number 1 in my car, and my son or daughter is going to have a number 1 on their backpack. This also ensures that the right kids are going with the right families and that we don't have any issues with pickup and who's picking people up. They will be called out by their numbers as the car arrives, and staff are going to use some radios to communicate. They'll be in the building socially distanced, and when you arrive, we'll call them out and they will get in your car. Arrival and dismissal for buses. For arrival, all buses will be dropped off and picked up in our west parking lot, just like normal. During arrival, we are going to only unload 1 bus at a time. And students will exit, they will socially distance, and they will enter into the building and go straight to their classroom. They will go in the same doors that were on the map earlier. Kindergarten in the front doors, first grade in the custodial door, second grade the far east door, and third and fourth grade in the cafeteria doors. At dismissal, buses will load as they arrive to school. We will call for students to come to the buses one at a time, and they will again socially distance themselves as they are exiting the building, and they will go straight to their buses. Walkers. Walkers will also enter the building through their assigned grade level doors. There really aren't any exceptions to this. Everyone's going to go through their assigned grade level doors. Walkers should not arrive any earlier than 9 o'clock, as they cannot wait in groups outside of the building. Once they're in the building, they're going to go directly to their classrooms just like everybody else.
So now we'd like to take a little time and talk about the meal selection process. So families will be sent a Google form on Wednesdays through the email. Each work to select your meal request for the entire week, and this does include lunch and breakfast. Selections of meals will need to be done by 10 p.m. on Sunday night for that week. Each building will offer a meal pickup daily from 11 to 12, and that's for the sign up, and that would be for asynchronous days and for students in TVLA. That pickup will be in front of the building. So for example, there's only going to be one meal choice, and it could be chicken nuggets. So whatever, it's just one for the day. No money is necessary. Lunches and breakfasts are free through December, through the end of December. Also, please know that students can still pack their lunch and bring their lunches from home as well, but this is an option for you. So breakfast. All students are able to receive breakfast for free until December 31st. Breakfast must be selected weekly on Wednesday via the Google form, and that would be mailed out to each of our families. And breakfast will be delivered to the classrooms, and students will eat breakfast in their rooms. Lunch for all students in kindergarten through grade 4. So lunches will be delivered to the classroom each day by our cafeteria staff. They will be students, when students come down to the cafeteria, they will have an assigned seat. They will be organized per the Google form that the parents are emailed and asked to complete weekly by our nutrition services. So that's only one lunch choice. So that's what we know, which students are receiving those lunches. As students come down from their classroom, they will be socially distant. Staff will come to the students to do the trash, so students are not getting up out of their seats. Tables will be wiped down after each lunch period, and a rotations of seats will be used so that we can properly disinfect the areas before another group comes to sit in that zone. Students are allowed to pack their lunch. It is highly recommended that your child uses all disposable products when packing their lunch, like a brown bag, because we used to have lunch baskets, and those that had lunch boxes, we would put those in the baskets, and then the kids would take those back to the classrooms. But again, that's just too many things touching each other and students gathering in large groups. So if they do bring a lunch box, that will go outside to recess with them and be in that recess zone. And then when they come back in the building, they will take it back up to their locker. There will be no extras offered at lunchtime. Sometimes we would have extra choices. If there was extra chicken nuggets, some of the kids would be able to go back into the kitchen and select and buy more chicken nuggets, but that is not available. And parents, we do encourage you to please practice opening lunch items with your child and try to send only those things that they can open. This does limit our staff having to touch those packages.
Recess. Each grade level will go outside for recess, weather permitting, of course. They will remain in their cohort or their classroom during recess. They will not mix cohorts. So, for instance, in 4th grade, Mrs. Prohaska's class will not be playing with Mrs. Cox's class. Mrs. Prohaska's class will be with just Mrs. Prohaska's class. Recess is going to take place for right now in our west parking lot, where our bus is over outside of our cafeteria doors. And students will use hand sanitizer prior to recess and after recess. So for the month of October, Plan A, this is again just for the month of October right now, students will have recess with their cohorts, and there will be a very limited amount of equipment. We are working on some ideas right now that the kids can do that don't involve them needing equipment that they would have to share with each other. Cohort classes are going to be assigned a zone, or essentially an area of that blacktop that they will need to stay in. It will still be a relatively large area, but they'll need to stay in that area. Students are going to be allowed to bring a book, a drawing notebook, something like that they could sit and just enjoy being outside and doing if they would like to. And as long as the students are 6 feet apart, they will have the option to take their mask off and get some fresh air and enjoy an extended mask break. Now, November and moving forward, we will assess the opportunity to be able to use the actual playground equipment and maybe more balls and equipment like that. Indoor recess will take place in the classroom with teacher supervision. Obviously, that's for inclement weather. And students will socially distance in there and do an activity at their assigned seat. Normally during indoor recess, they're clustered together and playing games and such, but that won't be able to happen right now. All right, attendance, remote and hybrid. There have been a lot of questions about attendance, so please listen to this. Parents must call in an absence daily to the school office and provide a doctor's excuse when needed. It is just like it has always been in the past. If your student is sick and they're not attending in person, or they're sick and they're not attending to their asynchronous learning and logging into Blackboard, we are asking that you please call the office each day. If they've gone to the doctor and you have a doctor's note, you can email that to us and we can keep that on file. Follow-up calls from the school will be taking place if they're not present for in-person or asynchronous learning. So to avoid you getting phone calls and us having to call you, we're asking that you call ahead of time. Now, on our asynchronous days, so that is either Monday, Wednesday, Friday for our orange group, and Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for our blue group, students will need to complete a morning check-in and an afternoon check-in on their Blackboard pages. This will be new starting on Monday, and this is going to be what teachers use for their attendance. So you can see on the screen, there's a picture of what it will look like, what the morning check-in looks like, and what the afternoon check-in looks like. The really nice thing about this is it asks the students each morning and each afternoon how they're feeling, and they have a chance to tell their teacher anything they think their teacher needs to know. So as well as an attendance, like, yes, I was on Blackboard doing my work, it gives the teacher a chance to check in on their social emotional well-being on the days that they're not physically in front of the teacher. So we need you to make note of this. It will be on the Blackboard. The teachers will show the kids where it is, and this will be extremely important for those asynchronous check-in days for attendance. Face covering expectations. Students and staff are expected to wear face coverings in the hall and in the classrooms. Teachers are planning already for some mask breaks for the students throughout the day. Breaks will be taken either outside. I know a lot of our teachers are hoping to take advantage of the nice weather whenever they can and take mask breaks outside, or they'll take them in the classroom as long as the students are 6 feet apart at that time. Masks will be available on the first day of in-person learning for the students. However, it is strongly recommended that they wear their own reusable mask, because those are going to fit better and be more comfortable for the kids than a mask that we give them here at school. Reducing health risks. Families are expected to do a health screening each morning. That's taking your temperature, asking them how they feel, and being responsible if they have a fever or they're not feeling well. We ask that you keep them home to eliminate the risk of there being a spread of COVID here at Grindstone. You can click here where it says, when you go back and look at the actual slideshow, to review the self-assessment guidelines. We will be encouraging frequent hand washing and sanitizing whenever possible. We will be encouraging soap and water. When that's not an option, then we will be encouraging students to use the hand sanitizer. Lunch is going to be in the cafeteria, but they will have assigned seats. And like Mrs. Grimm had already shared, they won't be up and moving around. They'll be in there, they'll eat their lunch, and they'll head out to recess. We will not have any large group events, assemblies, or field trips this year. We are allowing no visitors into the building right now. and our water fountains are turned off. So we are definitely encouraging our students to bring water bottle, maybe even two water bottles to get you through the day, one for the morning and one for the afternoon if you're thirsty and you know you get thirsty. Our hallways are going to be divided into two-way traffic to allow for social distancing. Similar to how it was for our meet and greets, we have tape on the floor this time though instead of cones. So our one side of the hallway will go one way, one will go the other, just kind of like you're driving on the road.
So cleaning and disinfecting of the building. So our custodial staff, our teachers, we've all been working very hard, making sure that we are up to date on protocols and what we need to do to keep ourselves and each other safe. Students and teachers will work together to maintain a clean and sanitary classroom. We will have more frequent cleaning of desks, tables, and other surfaces, doorknobs, handles, railings, faucets. Our custodial staff will be regularly walking around and through the building and to make sure that those areas are being disinfected regularly. Cleaning products are provided in each classroom, so teachers have the opportunity if the class goes to lunch, the teacher could spray down that classroom and wipe up the areas before the children come back. Please know that in all of our special area classes, students going to specials, those as they are exchanged between the cohorts, those teachers and our custodial staff will work to make sure that those areas are properly cleaned and disinfected. Daily cleaning and disinfecting throughout each of our buildings and our classrooms when empty of staff and our students. And of course, each night we will be doing a deep cleaning. Clinic procedure. So this is a little different than what we have had here at Grindstone in the past. We will have two clinics operating in the building. We will have an A clinic, which is asymptomatic. So in clinic A, and that's where the clinic has always been. So clinic A is we'll call it our quote unquote, our usual clinic, where Nurse Becky is cuts, scrapes, routine medication needs, diabetic care, etc. And any other non-COVID symptom can be addressed that cannot be addressed in the classroom. Those children will go to clinic A. If a child is feeling symptomatic, such as fever, loss of smell or taste, develops a new cough, has difficulty breathing or sore throat, any of those symptoms, then that child will report to to clinic B. And we will be following the district contact tracing process, which has been designed by the County Board of Health. I do know families that if your child is exposed in an area or somebody has tested positive, we will follow all of those proper procedures that have been designated by the County Board of Health. Families will be notified by a letter, and then the county takes over as far as the contact tracing to notify if further precautions need to be taken. Seating charts, hallways, and lockers. This is why seating charts and knowing exactly where their children are is very important because of that contact tracing piece. So we will have a seating chart for everywhere the children go. So in their classrooms, in the cafeteria, at their ENCORE classes, in the hallway, on the bus. So all of our classrooms will be responsible for maintaining a classroom seating chart. Students will be between 3 to 6 feet apart while in their seats. In the hallway, Mrs. Nagy mentioned what our patterns are. We will monitor that and adjust daily as needed so that we do not have large groups of students congregating in any one area. Students will need to walk in the hallway in alphabetical order. And like I mentioned just a moment ago, we will monitor that to make sure that that traffic flow is always being safe for all of our students and staff. Lockers, students will be able to use their locker. Teachers will limit the amount of students going out to the lockers at one time so that we don't have any large groups gathering, and there will be no sharing of locker space. Please know that those areas will be sprayed nightly and disinfected properly.
All right, our encores, or what we have always called our special area classes, PE, music, art, and library. This slide, when you click through the presentation, you can come here to see some more specific guidelines. We don't have specific guidelines attached for art yet, It's a little bit more just like the basic classroom and isn't requiring quite as much as like PE with equipment and music with singing and instruments and library with checking out books. So you can go through and see all of those specific guidelines there. Our students will be going to their ENCORE classrooms. So they will go to the gym for PE, they will go to their music classroom for music, art for art, and they will go to the library. They will also be checking out books as part of the, if you click here, you can see the procedure for how they will be able to check out books. During the hybrid instruction, our students are going to follow this ENCORE schedule. Try to make this simple. I'm thinking you're looking at this going, this does not look simple. I promise it looks better than it did when we started. So everybody on October 5th is going to be a blue day for ENCORE classes. So every student will start with a blue day. They will have blue ENCORE for 2 days. So for example, the blue schedule, Monday they're in person. So they will go to their blue ENCORE class, and Tuesday they are asynchronous. So, but they will do an asynchronous lesson on the blackboard for that same ENCORE class. Orange schedule, Monday they would be asynchronous and Tuesday they would be in person. So their classroom teacher is going to let them know what ENCOREs they have, and it will be posted in their blackboard for their asynchronous lessons. And if you click where it says click here, it actually shows you the schedule. So it's blue, blue, orange, orange, and so on. So if you look at the sample below on the left, it's for the blue schedule. So our A through L friends, Monday, they have their blue special in person. Tuesday, they have their blue special asynchronously. Wednesday, they have their orange special in person. Thursday, they have their orange special asynchronously. Friday, there's no encores. The next week, we pick up with yellow. Monday, they have their yellow in person. Tuesday, they have their yellow asynchronously. Wednesday, they have their green in person. Thursday, they have their green asynchronously. And Friday, there's no encore. So it is a 2-week rotation. They have 2 specials each week, but they have it all 4 days. And then the same for the orange. They just start with their special asynchronously, and then they have it in person the second day. We hope that explains it. You can always reach out and ask if you have any questions.
School supplies. I know many people have been asking about, well, what does my child need to bring back with them when we come back hybrid? So first and foremost, they need to bring their Chromebook, and it needs to be charged. So that is a necessity every day. It just becomes part of our learning. Chromebooks need to go back and forth between school and home, and they need to keep charged. Students will be able to keep supplies here at school. They will have individual areas to keep those supplies in, and there will be no sharing of community supplies. You have a link in this slide that says to click here, and you will see which supplies your child needs to bring back on the first day of school. We have not added anything to those lists. The only thing that could be added is the teacher may ask you to bring have your child bring a beach towel or a towel, something to sit on for when they go outside, and that could also just be left at school. We do ask that every child have a change of clothes in their lockers, so please plan for that. Students, their first day of learning should bring back their math materials, and on their second day of learning, bring back their reading materials. Now, we recognize, I saw it when many of you left here on your meet and greets, you were loaded down with a lot of stuff, your Chromebooks, your math books, your reading books. It's a lot, and we recognize here at school that you are not going to be able to bring everything back on that first day of school. So that's why we ask that please the Chromebook, what school supplies that your child can manage to bring back in their backpack and not make it too heavy, and then their math books for their very first day of learning. Then their second day of learning, their Chromebook, other supplies that maybe were not able to come that first day, and then their reading books, so that we can get those textbooks and those manuals back in the building. So please know that we know that not every child is going to be able to bring everything day one, because they'd be bringing a wagon with them and some of them a truck, I'm sure. So you will find on that link, each grade level has kind of spelled out what they believe is necessity to bring back those that first week of learning. We also know that some supplies may need to be shared between home and school. And so if your child needs to take home their crayons nightly, then that is something that they could keep in their backpack. Conference night. This is just for a future reference. Assuming that the current county and state health conditions remain the same, conferences will be held in person this year. We would hope to follow the same kind of model that we did for meet and greets, actually, where we can invite parents in, as well as there are opportunities to also meet virtually. So those are the dates, November 17th and 19th. It's a Tuesday, Thursday, and then our winter conferences is February 25th. So that is just for future reference for each of you to have. So on behalf of myself and Mrs. Nagy, I really want to say thank you for all your support, patience, and your flexibilities these past several weeks. I know we here as a staff at Grindstone have really felt a lot of your love and support, and we couldn't be more appreciative of that. And know that we are so excited to welcome your child back here to Grindstone on Monday, October 5th, if you fall into that blue schedule, or Tuesday, October 6th. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.